The bright lights of the View studio shimmered over a sea of expectant faces as the audience buzzed with excitement. The day's guest, country superstar Carrie Underwood, had just walked on stage to thunderous applause. Known for her angelic voice, humble charm, and graceful presence, she had always been regarded as one of America's most beloved performers. Dressed in a crisp white suit with delicate gold jewelry, Carrie looked every bit the picture of poise and confidence. She smiled warmly as she took her seat beside Joy Behar, unaware that the next few minutes would spark one of the most talked-about moments in daytime television. The segment began pleasantly enough. Joy, with her trademark wit, teased Carrie about her legendary career. "You've won everything there is to win, Grammys, CMAs, AMAs, you even managed to make a Christmas album people actually cry listening to," she joked. Carrie laughed softly, thanking her for the kind words. The exchange drew chuckles from the crowd and set a friendly tone. But beneath Joy's humor was something sharper, a hint of curiosity that soon turned into confrontation. The conversation shifted to Carrie's role as a public figure. Joy leaned forward, resting her chin on her hand. "You've always been a class act, Carrie," she said, "but I have to ask, how do you handle people expecting you to take a stand on political or social issues?" Carrie paused, clearly choosing her words with care. "I think people know I've never been one for drama or division," she said. "I make music to bring people together, not pull them apart. Everyone's got their own beliefs, and I respect that." Joy nodded, but there was a glint in her eye. "Sure, but silence can say a lot too, don't you think? Some fans think you've been quiet about things that matter, like education, health care, even certain policies in your home state." The air in the studio tightened. Carrie's polite smile faltered slightly, though her tone remained calm. "Joy," she said gently, "with all due respect, I don't believe I owe the world an opinion on everything. I sing for everyone, Republicans, Democrats, people who don't vote at all. My job is to lift people's spirits, not divide them further." That should have ended the topic. But Joy, who'd built her career on pushing boundaries, wasn't satisfied. "I get that," she replied, crossing her arms, "but when you have influence like yours, don't you think staying quiet can be taken as agreeing with things that might be questionable?" Carrie tilted her head, clearly unsettled. "Are you saying I support something wrong?" Joy hesitated only a second before replying, "Well, you've liked posts on social media that come from certain accounts known for spreading misinformation. That gives people a certain impression." The studio went dead silent. Carrie blinked, stunned by the accusation. "Excuse me," she said, her voice dropping an octave. "I'm just asking what everyone's thinking," Joy pressed. "You've got millions of fans. Don't they deserve to know where you stand?" Carrie's expression hardened, and for the first time, the warmth drained from her eyes. "Joy, with all due respect, liking a post doesn't mean I endorse everything behind it. I'm human. Sometimes I like things because they make me think, or because I respect a different point of view. That doesn't make me guilty of anything." A murmur rippled through the audience. Some clapped, others sat frozen, unsure how to react. The other co-hosts exchanged uneasy glances, clearly sensing the tension building between the two women. Joy gave a small shrug, her tone dripping with condescension. "I'm just saying, Carrie, people might expect transparency from someone as influential as you." That was the breaking point. Carrie's shoulders squared, as she looked directly at Joy. "You know what, Joy? I came here to talk about music, faith, and my tour, not to be cornered into defending my character. I've worked hard for everything I have. My fans know who I am. I don't need to justify myself to anyone who twists a story for headlines." The audience gasped. Carrie's voice wasn't loud, but it carried weight, measured, sharp, and final. Joy tried to salvage control, laughing awkwardly. "Oh, come on, don't take it so seriously. It's just a conversation." Carrie stood up slowly, unclipping her microphone. "A conversation ends when one person stops listening," she said, her voice calm but cutting. "This feels like an ambush." The co-hosts tried to intervene, but it was too late. Carrie gave a small, respectful nod to the others, then turned to the audience. "Thank you for having me," she said, her tone sincere but firm. "I hope everyone has a beautiful day." And with that, she walked off the stage, head high, steps steady, her heels echoing through the stunned silence. Cameras caught the look of disbelief on Joy's face as Carrie disappeared behind the curtain. Within seconds, producers scrambled to cut to commercial, the audience buzzing in whispers. The moment was raw, Real, and unforgettable, the kind of television that would dominate headlines for days. Carrie Underwood hadn't just left The View that morning. She'd left a message hanging in the air, one about respect, dignity, and knowing when to walk away. The clip of Carrie Underwood walking off The View hit the internet before the show had even finished airing. Within minutes, the moment exploded across every major social media platform. Headlines blazed. Carrie Underwood storms off The View after on-air clash with Joy Behar. Millions of viewers replayed the video, analyzing every word, every expression, every flicker of emotion between the two women. By the time the show ended, Carrie's name was trending worldwide. Hashtags like #WeStandWithCarrie, #CarrieUnderwoodWalks, and #JoyBehar controversy flooded Twitter. Fans defended Carrie's composure, calling her a class act for refusing to engage in what they labeled a public ambush. Others accused her of dodging responsibility, claiming her silence proved Joy's point. The internet, as usual, was divided, but everyone was talking. Backstage, Carrie sat in her dressing room, the atmosphere tense but quiet. She stared at her reflection in the mirror, still processing the heated exchange. Her publicist, Monica, paced the room, phone buzzing non-stop with messages from networks, journalists, and fans. "Carrie, we can issue a statement before this spirals," Monica suggested gently. "We'll keep it calm, something like, Carrie appreciates healthy dialogue but doesn't tolerate disrespect. It'll sound neutral." Carrie took a deep breath, her voice steady. "No," she said firmly. "I don't want to feed it. The truth speaks for itself. I was polite, I was honest, and I walked away before it got ugly. That's all anyone needs to know." Monica nodded, though worry lingered in her eyes. She knew Carrie valued grace over confrontation, but this wasn't a small tabloid rumor, it was everywhere. Meanwhile, Joy Behar was facing her own storm. Back on The View, after returning from commercial, she tried to downplay what had just happened. "Well," she said with a nervous chuckle, "that was unexpected. Carrie's a wonderful artist. I wasn't trying to upset her, I was just asking questions." The audience reacted awkwardly. Some clapped, others remained silent. Her co-hosts exchanged uneasy glances. One muttered softly, "Maybe that went too far," before the cameras cut to another segment. But the damage was done. That evening, entertainment shows replayed the clip on loop. Access Hollywood, Entertainment Tonight, and Good Morning America all dissected the moment from every angle. Analysts called it a masterclass in composure versus confrontation. Fans flooded Carrie's social media with messages of support. One viral comment read, "She didn't walk out of weakness, she walked out with dignity." Carrie's team remained silent for 2 days, letting the storm rage. Then, on the third morning, she finally spoke, but not through an interview or a press release. Instead, she posted a black and white photo on Instagram. She stood alone on a stage, microphone in hand, eyes closed as if mid-song. The caption read, "Kindness isn't weakness, silence isn't guilt, sometimes, walking away is the loudest thing you can do." Within hours, the post amassed over 3 million likes. Fellow artists commented words of solidarity. Kelsey Ballerini wrote, "You handled that like a queen." Dolly Parton even weighed in subtly, commenting with a heart emoji and the words, "Class and grace, always." Joy, however, faced mounting criticism. Fans accused her of being hostile, condescending, and disrespectful. A petition demanding an on-air apology gained thousands of signatures overnight. Even within ABC, insiders leaked that producers were deeply concerned about how the exchange reflected on the show. When The View returned the following Monday, Joy looked more subdued than usual. Halfway through the episode, she addressed the controversy with a brief statement. "I just want to say that I have great respect for Carrie Underwood," she began, her tone softer than usual. "Our conversation got a little heated, and I may have come off as too direct. That wasn't my intention. I wish her all the best." The apology was brief but necessary. Yet, Carrie chose not to respond publicly. She was already back to doing what she loved, performing. Her first concert after the incident was in Nashville. Fans filled the arena, holding signs that read, "We love you, Carrie," and "Grace over gossip." When she walked onto the stage, the crowd roared for nearly 5 minutes straight. Smiling, she placed her hand over her heart and whispered, "Thank you." Midway through her set, just before singing "Something in the Water," she paused to speak. "Sometimes," she said softly, "you'll find yourself in a moment where someone questions your heart, your truth. And you'll want to defend yourself. But remember this: you don't always have to shout to be heard. Sometimes the best response is peace. The audience erupted, cheering and clapping as her band began to play. In that moment, Carrie turned what could have been a PR disaster into a statement of strength and authenticity. Meanwhile, Joy Behar continued hosting The View, but many noticed a subtle shift in her demeanor. She was still bold, still opinionated, but just a bit more careful, a little more measured in how she confronted guests. As weeks passed, the controversy cooled, but the conversation it sparked continued, about celebrity boundaries, journalistic ethics, and the pressure on public figures to disclose their personal beliefs. Many agreed on one thing: Carrie's walk-off had set a new standard for how to stand firm with dignity. Months later, when asked about the incident during a magazine interview, Carrie smiled faintly and said, "That day reminded me who I am, and what I'm not willing to compromise. I believe in kindness, but kindness doesn't mean letting someone walk all over you." Her words echoed far beyond the world of entertainment. Carrie Underwood hadn't just walked off a talk show, she had walked into a moment of empowerment that reminded millions that grace, when challenged, can still be powerful enough to silence the noise.